Now, with both Drake and DJ Akademiks, as 2024 is coming to a close and there is no longer any chance of doing something to change what we have all witnessed within the hip-hop world this year, it's safe to say that when it comes to the biggest losers in all of rap music, from artists to media personalities in this year for the ages, there has been no two people who have had a worse year for their careers and whose downfall has really symbolized the way hip-hop is changing than both Drake and Ak. But now, while it seems like with everything we have witnessed, it can't get much worse than what we have seen throughout 2024 for these two, especially after the clown show the two have put on following their loss to Kendrick Lamar, which has made both of them crash out in their own respective ways. But in actuality, with what's going on with both of them, we have to ask ourselves, just where will these two truly catastrophic downfalls go from here, and after the all-time career lowlights both of these two have put up? What will happen to them as hip-hop enters an entire new chapter? And it seems like even already before 2025 begins, we have found our answer, as based on the way both Drake and Ak are closing out these years and preparing for what's next to come. Somehow things are only going to get a lot worse for them, as what just happened in both of their careers is pointing to something truly terrible. But now, before we go any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. And so now when it comes to what's going on with Drake and DJ Akademiks, right now we are seeing their crash outs, which was all caused from Kendrick Lamar's win in the beef, continue, and after humiliating themselves to everyone else in the genre for the most part, Drake and Ak have been humiliating each other's images in some shape or form, and after Ak just absolutely embarrassed Drake when he accidentally showed off his most listened to song of the year and his #1 most played track was Not Like Us, after months of speculation and comments in the industry about how Drake has been manipulating the biggest voice in hip-hop media and all of his employees to spread narratives that will benefit his image but never actually does anything to return the favor. Which has made Akademiks look more pathetic because he has just lied to every single person, including himself, when having to answer questions like these.
You think Drake shows you love?
Yeah, Drake showed me a lot of love.
Which finally now, after all of this chaos and confusion regarding if Drake actually despises DJ Akademiks, Drake has all but directly confirmed this rumor and really joked that people have said to Ak's face at this point, and he has clearly been upset about because on some level he thinks it's true, because right now for Drake, as he is in this weird era of his career where after releasing more music that was failing no matter what genres or artists he was collabing with and how he tried to present his new music, whether that meant through features or through his 100 gigs drops, what Drake is doing after having his worst musical run ever is continuing his absence from the rap game by going on another live stream and doing a massive event. And when Drake could have teamed up with Ak and made a massive moment where the biggest rapper and media personality on the losing side of hip-hop right now officially come together and try to clap back in full force against every single person who has been clowning them, Drake has instead ran away from hip-hop altogether and is doing an entire event called Drizmas with none other than Aiden Ross. And seemingly with this, from everything we are seeing, it's set up to be Drake's biggest attempt to win back the public and try to create a moment that will give him some good press and overall just boost his image. Drake chose to escape any corner of the hip-hop world, including the one he still occupied, and is now doubling down on hanging around and creating content with streamers, instead of doing anything to tap in with hip-hop culture. And as this is now his second major event livestream that he is doing in just the span of a month, and with this event being put on with the help of partners and teams that don't just work with Drake but also DJ Akademiks, at this point there is no other reason why Drake would still be avoiding Ak unless this was a calculated effort to continue to silently humiliate him after Ak has accidentally made Drake look much worse than ever by exposing his hidden support for Kendrick amongst many other embarrassing things. But even worse than this strange dynamic between Drake and Akademiks, it's also an attempt from Drake to distance himself from hip-hop as a whole and to not have to face the culture as his main audience, which in of itself, in this time where Drake's legitimacy as a rapper has been questioned, and really with the way the entire post-beef era of his career has played out, is really starting to put his entire legacy on the line. Drake running away from hip-hop further and further, and avoiding even thinking about his career as an MC is the worst thing he can do right now. And when this stream ends up airing, just wait and see how much backlash he is going to get, because if the first stream he did a month ago got bad reception when he crashed out on Kendrick Lamar, Metro Boomin, Steve Lacy, and so many others, it's seemingly locked in that with an even bigger audience and with a creator in Aiden Ross, who Drake seems to be actually friends with on some level at least, Drake is going to leave us remembering him this year while he allows himself to crash out even more than we have ever seen. And now for both Drake and Akademiks, because of the way they aligned up during the beef and decided to spread information together that would benefit their own ideals and what they wanted to happen, they have really binded their careers together on an invisible string. And so at this point, the consequences of one's action are going to have bigger and bigger ripple effects on the other. And for Akademiks at this point, despite being the biggest single voice in hip-hop media and posing himself as this unbiased independent source, even though we all know he's not. Him being this compromised in terms of his loyalty to Drake and seeing how he has centered his entire brand around supporting the OVO rapper is now pushing him further and further into helping a guy who doesn't even like him, because since all of Ak's fans are Drake fans by default, because that's the only way anyone could listen to the guy and actually support him, Ak has been put in a place where if he does anything to work against Drake, he will lose his platform in an instant. And when you really see how, because of what Drake has made Ak lean further and further into by supporting every single thing he does, no matter how ridiculous he looks, which again, even if Ak is not himself, the accounts and everything Ak owns is always pushing narratives that are pro-Drake. It's honestly funny because this is the most tactical and strategic move Drake has made all year, as it has forced somebody to be an ally of his no matter what, who does have some sort of power in the culture. And so now no matter where this relationship goes, and now with Drake seemingly pushing his entire career into a place so far away from hip-hop as he is aligning with people and creators who, beyond whatever else you want to say about them, seemingly represent something that is far removed, and you could even say the antithesis of anything that defines rap music at its core. Altogether, Drake is playing a game where if he keeps going further and further into this community, he is seemingly catering to both with his recent emphasis on content in general and also just with the type of behavior he is showing, which even for his own standards is only getting more immature and emotional every time he steps outside. With all of this, Drake is really playing a strange game that when it comes to trying to see where he wants to go from here, especially because at the same time as doing this, he has been trying to get one of the biggest record contracts of all time from his label, which means he needs to try and increase the value of his musical worth over everything else. And you see that Drake wants to be the biggest musician on the planet, but he's so caught up with creating content and being the face of quick moments online that really only make him look worse in the long run. When you really look at it for what it is, it seems like Drake is going to be entering 2025 on an even lower point of rock bottom than it seemed like before. And for Akademiks, his place in all of this is really the most interesting and telling in a way, because if Drake keeps pulling Ak further and further out of hip-hop, well, we all know Ak will be sitting in that same chair no matter what. What is becoming more clear is that in a lot of ways, with Drake giving all these opportunities to interact and get closer with the audience that Ak has been trying to get a hold of to all of these other people, Ak is spiraling out from this and is realizing just how bad of a time this is for the future of his career. Because between his favorite rapper not liking him and the rapper who has caused all of this to happen for him in the first place in Kendrick Lamar finding more and more success, Ak has been acting even more wild than usual recently, as in an attempt to win back Drake and try to earn back any sort of trust in this one-sided friendship. Ak even went as far to crash out on SZA recently with one of the weirdest and angriest 20-minute rants he has had in quite some time. When he was breaking down Kendrick and SZA's new song 30 for 30, where the two were making fun of Drake and possibly Ak as well, he said some wild things to try and pick apart her character, and then pretended that he knew about why her and Drake were working so closely together in 2023 during the For All the Dogs era, and now why they are no longer on speaking terms. And so with how emotional and all over the place Ak was here, it's showing that even for his own standards, the pressure of Drake in this moment altogether where hip-hop is shifting is just getting to him, and it's honestly hilarious just to see how wrong the aftermath of this entire beef and era in rap is going for him. But at this point, with both Ak and Drake being in this strange phase where hip-hop is shifting and the genre and culture that has allowed for them to become who they are in the first place, whether that's for better or for worse, is now challenging everyone who is a part of it to be the most real and authentic version of themselves that they have ever been. Seeing Drake and Ak, who have been the faces of some of the biggest issues in the genre over the last decade, just run away from any responsibility they may have or from a comeback as a whole is really just showing how much this entire moment in time has put both of them in shambles. But now as we wait to see where all this goes, all we can do is sit and watch where Drake is going to lead him and the guy whose entire career relies on his every single move. And if Drake seriously makes the statement it seems like he's about to with Adin Ross, just in terms of shifting his entire image and moving further away from the thing that defined his image in hip-hop in the first place, then times are really about to get even more interesting than before. And so now with all this said, let me know, what do you think about what's going on with Drake and DJ Akademiks, and what do you think about this downfall they're on that seems like it's about to get a lot worse as hip-hop continues to shift? And as we enter a new year in hip-hop, where do you think this play Drake is leading is going to take both of them, and who will it benefit the most? Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And while we're talking about subscribing, thank you to everyone who has helped me reach over 80,000 subscribers. It's seriously surreal to think that we have made it this far, and if you're watching this and are not subscribed yet, be sure to do so right now, because with the year hip-hop is about to have in 2025, we are only going to be witnessing more history unfold before our eyes as we know it. And now, if you want to see how well Drake is closing out one of the worst years we have ever seen from a rapper ever, Kendrick Lamar has just solidified his title as the best MC of all time with what he has just done. Check out the suggested video.